What's up, everybody? It's your boy D Mac, and I'm back through StreamYard. It's mighty funny that all of a sudden they decided to give me my StreamYard back after I got on there and was talking junk, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to discuss that because I got a more important topic to talk about. Y'all see the topic, and if you look in the description, it tells you what basically what I'm talking about. But just imagine, man. I was sitting here, and I don't know if any of you other free thinkers or anybody thought this before you ever really took the time to sit down, and just think about this, but I did, and so I wanted to share this reflection that I had. Um, but what I want to do, I definitely want to go ahead and put this in the Dropbox so that people will have an opportunity to come on and share in this. Oh snap. Let me see. Copy. Okay, copied. Now go to okay. Put it in there. Bam. Bam. And there we go. And it's in the chat. So I put the link in the chat, and so I'm going to just go ahead and start running my mouth. And if you want to come on and talk with me about what I'm talking about, then you're more than welcome to come in and talk with me at this time. I was thinking, man, what if Kwame never lied? And not saying like never told a lie, but I'm saying, what if he never lied to the people and lost the trust of the people that he lost the trust of? What if he actually did what he said he was going to do and followed through and was a man of his word and was solid and stand up? Man, look at all of these talented people from engineering to making beats to making songs to making skits to all of these different avenues that people have been operating in. Salute, Trey. I'm like, man, just imagine if he didn't mess that up. Look at all the firepower that this dude would have to go against anybody. Man, just imagine if he had the whole free thinker squad behind his back, and the other people from the other side who are breaking off into their own little groups and stuff like that. What if he had this collective of people who were originally having his back? What if he had that full force right now behind him? How powerful would that brother be right now? I was sitting here and I was really thinking about that, man, because we talk all the junk and we had a fun and we roast and stuff like that. But I'm sitting here and I really had to think about it, man. What if he had Trey? What if he had Sears? What if he had Mr. Skinny? What if he had Self-Awareness TV? What if he had all of these different powerhouses backing him, giving him all of their resources, putting him up on all of the wealth of knowledge that all of these different people have? All of these people going to gun for him, all of these brilliant minds speaking, around him and building him up and teaching him certain things. We got Trey. Let's get Trey on up in here, man. Add to the stream.
Salute, D.
Salute, Trey. What's going on, brother?
I'm good. I'm just listening to you. I mean, ever since I said I was gonna sub and follow you, I did. I've been looking and re-looking at your videos, man, and real nice, real different perspective on a lot of things. And that's just like you said, that's what the world needs. Somebody that's gonna keep you on your toes, keep you thinking. Thought-provoking ideas and things like that. And while we talking about Kwame, what you said is absolutely correct. He had all those people behind him. And he threw them away and opted out for a team that was just disgusting. You know, like every everybody that was, I mean, everybody that's in this sector currently at one time or another sort of halfway believed in Kwame Brown. And he let so many people down to the point to where, I mean, you know, I'm never the one to say nobody's beyond redemption, but I'm just saying it's gonna be so hard for him to climb back up that hill because we've seen time and time again how he's just not a stand-up guy, you know?
That's it, man. And everybody have that same common denominator with it, man. Every single person that I've encountered, we can pretty much just fill in the blank with our name, and the story is going to be the same. We don't even have to change the storyline. And man, I was looking at the videos that you be doing, man. The editing is top key, bro. Dope stuff. Sis be doing some dope stuff, making the beats and the songs. Self awareness, making the song, man. All of these different, just juggernauts. If he didn't mess up, man, and he had all of this behind him, man, that brother would be an unstoppable force on social media right now.
Queen said the same thing. You know, I was listening or re-listening to one of Queen live, and she said the exact same thing you said. Like, if this dude hadn't have messed up all of these relationships, do you imagine the force that we could come at whoever with? You know, like we had a celebrity, quote unquote, and we had a whole bunch of free thinkers that were pumping ideas into a pool. And this guy was so much of a narcissist to he had to make every single situation all about him. And that's the catalyst. That's what people start to see. Like, hold up, wait, man. Is it really about the children? Is it really about trading and Colin, or is it about you, Kwame Brown? Because I had several conversations with him up on this panel. And a couple of times, you know, it went well, you know, but you know, the last time where it went kind of awry was when I addressed them about the meal ticket situation and Urs up there, you know, windmilling and shit. And
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, like, look, that shit there is real foul. Like, I'm looking at this shit in real time. I'm like, I see you niggas. What the fuck? And Kwame's sitting there trying to act like he oblivious to the situation. So that's why I had to address it like I did. I said, hold up, man, wait. Like, y'all trying to act like it ain't evidence out there where somebody vindicated themselves and or at least gave an explanation as to what was going on. And then when I did my video, I was telling them and trying to put the shit in the balance. Like, look, one of these guys just don't belong here, you know, like on some Sesame Street shit. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so like look at Meal Ticket and what he's saying and what he's doing in his video versus what Ears is saying and doing in his video. And I'm telling him like, Kwame, come on, for real? Are you fucking kidding me? You don't see, I mean, fuck the duality. I'm saying you don't see the inconsistency in this shit here because there is no duality because it's not the fucking same.
Yeah. You can show that dude pure evidence, and he's still gonna play the denial game. I believe it was Uncle Suge the other day showed him he had a video, two different videos showing this dude talking out of both sides of his mouth, contradicting himself very clearly. And whenever I see things like that, it just reinforce what my whole beef with my whole gripe with him is being. I got in my bag a little earlier today. He pissed me off a little bit because of him. Just because of that whole situation has been going down. And I don't like for somebody to come in talking about they're activists and they out here to help the kids when they not really about that life. I'm out here really doing it. I'm out here really putting myself in harm's way to try to reach these young dudes. And so I take it very seriously. When somebody come in playing with that pisses me off, man. So That's the main problem that I have with that dude. But I'm looking at all of this talent, man, and all of y'all that I'm coming in contact with, dude. Man, and everybody is starting to come back together. Everybody that broke away is starting to come back together slowly but surely. And that whole idea that we was talking about in the beginning is going to continue to move forward. It's just going to move forward without those clowns. And I think that's for the best.
Yes, sir. And I'm gonna say it like this: they plan a plan, and God plans a plan. See, no one anticipated that this would bring the free thinkers together, and these people that they call the rabbits, would all emerge, on the scene and start doing productive things, um, for the Commonwealth. And the thing is, Kwame Brown never anticipated that. That's really what's got him going so bad. And then we had a juggernaut in No Chill Arenas to come up here and be part of the free thinkers and move and do his tactics, So I mean all of it was necessary. The whole thing is, man, when you trying to take down a giant, I said when I first came to this side, I said the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Like I got a issue with Kwame Brown, and my issue with him was that he wasn't real. He was a fraud. So if I'm coming up on your panel, I'm super chatting you, and I'm coming in the name of truth, and I find out at the end of the day you're a liar and you don't stand on none of the principles, at least 98% of the principles that you speak on, then I got an issue with you. And just to be totally honest, that was the issue I had, with his boy, but not for real, for real. It was just the fact that, me and dude got into it because one night, and this wasn't even Kwame Brown, one night I was in a meal ticket chat and dude timed me out 18 fucking single times, bro.
Yeah,
And Meal Ticket had already told him, nobody else time out Trey. Trey good. And even after Meal Ticket said that, motherfucker timed me out again. So, I mean, when I seen that dude, it was on site, man. I was like, because that's the type of shit. That's the type of shit that I don't deal with as a grown man on some real nigga shit. Because, like, if a motherfucker got something to say and he's saying something significant, like, hear him out. And at least, agree to disagree. But the thing is, they whole shit was about spinning narratives, projecting shit on people, not letting motherfuckers talk, over talking people, taking over the conversation. And that's not communication to me. You get it?
exactly. Yep. I've been chasing this dude for a whole year, man. I put up a video the other night where because when I first started out, I started with this brother named Big J. Salute to Big J. And, this is when the whole thing just came out. And this is when everybody was for him. And if you go back and look through our content, you'll see how we started out for him. And then we gradually began to fall away as he began to exhibit that bullshit.
Every,
And
every, every, not to cut you off, Deke, but everybody did. It's a pattern. That's a common chord in all of us. Salute, Mickey. I'm sorry. How you doing, Mickey?
yeah,
Uh,
so we'll make it my bad.
that's a common chord in all of us, bro. Like if you go back and do the math, every quote unquote detractor right now was at one time a Kwame Brown supporter because they believed in the BS that this boy was kicking. And you know, I would admonish us though not to be too hard on ourselves, because the whole thing is that's the better nature and the good nature of a person. Like when you hear somebody playing that violin, man, and tugging on heartstrings, you as a people, or us as a people, we automatically identify with the sentiment, So like that's what everybody's issue was exactly. And then when they blew up, that's what made it extra, because they was like, nah, bro, we invested time and effort and compassion in you, and you bullshit. Are you serious? That's yeah.
Yeah, that's a disappointment that we've had too many times in our community, man. There's so many people who use us and exploit us to as basically a stepping stone to get where they want to go, and then they'll discard everything that they promised to us. And so at some point, this causes bitterness in people. I know it's caused bitterness in me over the years, and I've had this attitude that I had to break away from about what black people want and what black people really trying to achieve in this country. So I feel people whenever they have the resentment, like Kanye West and Candace Owens, the shit that they own, that's something totally different. That's a whole nother level. That's some self
Yeah,
hate stuff.
that's
They have a whole.
that, that's totally different. That's a clown show. See, the whole shit with that is like what you have to realize is certain people are gonna do this for real, and other people are gonna do this for popularity, political posturing, views, if you will. So, man, I don't really give too much attention to Kanye West because I know he's stunting, and I think the more I'm really on some 48 laws of power with Kanye because I know he on some bullshit like Kwame Brown, but at the same time, like we as a people, a lot of times, and I'm glad you brought that subject matter up because the one thing I want to let you know is that, like, I went back and as much as your content that I absolutely could, I tried to rewatch it, like, and the one thing specifically that stuck out to me is that conversation when you said, like with Malcolm and Martin, you basically came with both men, but is that you practice different elements of those two individuals in certain situations. And I totally get that. I was like, man, look, I say, see, because at the end of the day, like, if you really want to deal with Kwame Brown, he's a traitor, and
Yeah,
how Winnie Mandela dealt with traitors. So I mean, what are we doing here? Because the dude actually traded uh and was a traitor to good natured people and basically turncoat on all of us, tried to make us look like something we weren't. And then when he was really polarized to show exactly his whole ideology, his whole blueprint, his whole plan, the walls start coming tumbling down. And now Kwame Brown is out again playing the victim, you know?
yeah,
One people to feel sorry for him playing some. See, well, I told you it was gonna do. Even after the apology with Gil, that half-ass apology with Gil, he wanted he and play about it, and that's why I'm like, I hope Gil stick it to him, because he ain't getting it. He's not getting it, bruh.
yeah. And I say it like this. Harriet Tubman said it the best. Look at those niggas right there. Those are the ones that we gonna have to kill because they're the ones who gonna be the ones to try to stop the movement. It ain't gonna be slave master. It ain't gonna be the overseer. They gonna
Mm,
send those niggas right there.
mm,
You know what I'm
mm.
saying? And so that's the way I start looking at people like Kwame Brown. These are those agents inside of the movement. They the ones that was in the hall that day when Malcolm X got killed saying, "Get your hand out my pocket." That's
Right.
that's the way that I see him and those types of people. So if you're gonna be a disruption to the movement, then we definitely gonna have to move you out of the way. Blessings to you, Chicky.
Salute, chicken. Yeah, right, D. Because the thing is, not only that, man. Like with Malcolm and Martin, like I hold both of those gentlemen dear and near to me, and and already from some of the content I've shown that I'm a little versed in both of the men. But this is the one thing that a lot of people don't recognize about Martin Luther King, and I have to say this, like he was a certain person all the way up through his life, even through the COINTEL, even through the threats and all of that. But at the end of his life, I want you to go and look at the last 6 months, if you could Google that. The last 6 months of Martin Luther King's life, he had a meeting of the minds. He made a change, bro. Like he wasn't really hell bent on that movement like people thought he was. Even after that situation down in Memphis where they did the strikes with the buses, he came back on a different plane. Like he was on some boycott, like, no, law, let's take these dollars from these people. That's when Martin became a threat, you
Yeah,
know.
blessings to you, Queen. It's a blessing to see you in the house. Hey, bro, you absolutely right. I spoke on that a little bit, and I was saying how towards the end, Martin, he began to see how they was trying to use him to be a gatekeeper to appease the black people, the same way they was using Jesse Jackson, the same way they was using Al Sharpton, and he recognized that, and he started to push back against that. That's when all that white backing was like, "Yo, we got to do something with him. We can't have him and Malcolm out here woke to what's taking place." And
Fact.
so they had to take them brothers out, man, because we was waking up back then, and I say again, man, there's a whole lot of people that are waking up nowadays, but they got to get the coal out their eyes and move around and get the cobwebs out before they can actually start moving. And that's why I'm trying to catch these young men out here like 14, 15, 16, so I can go ahead and plant that seed in them, man. So by the time they hit 20, 25, then they hopefully they went on to do some research of their own, man, and they can get an understanding of what we up against.
Facts, facts. You said it though. Like a lot of the, what you mentioned in one of your lives, you had said that, Martin was really trying to steer away from Malcolm because of for whatever reason. But I'm telling you, in a lot of sense and instances, it was the actual people and the powers that be that caused the dissension between the two because they didn't want them hooking up and getting together and coming to one common accord. Because if you remember, once Malcolm stepped away from the NOI, he started to say, blacks here and in the diaspora, he was like, I don't care what your situation is, what your religion is, what your denomination is, as long as you black, we can work together on a common ideology. So a lot of the hype was being built around that towards the last stages of Malcolm's life and the last stages of Martin's life, because when Malcolm died, when Malcolm died, Martin was still on the scene, but you still had guys like Stokely Carmichael out there. You still had the Black Panther movement out there, so you still had many viable groups that could take and move that movement into the stratosphere if they had the right backing and the right mentality behind it. See, a lot of times and this is where we come in with that infiltration when the COINTEL and all these agents start coming amongst us talking about, well, Kwame, he ain't say nothing till somebody said something about him first. This type of shit hurt. And just, like me, I'm really, a lot of people don't understand, but I'm really FOI, so I understand a lot that the common neophyte won't get until you actually write that letter or cross those thresholds. You see, because a lot of people love to spit and talk about what the Nation of Islam is and what they do, da 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 da. But I'm talking about speaking from an inside out perspective. There's a lot of inner knowledge that you will never ever be privy to unless you go to a certain height or degree within that organization. So with that said, Malcolm knew some things, some
Yes.
some things that he chose to leave out when he became a detractor. He purposely omitted things to create a narrative and make it look like something else. I'm gonna leave that right there for another subject. But then with him and with him and Martin, they definitely were going to have a meeting of the minds. And incidentally, D-Mac, Martin met with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Did you know that?
I didn't, bro.
Yeah, he had a meeting with him, and after that meeting, oh man, this is deep, and I don't care. I'm gonna challenge him right now. After that meeting, That's where that "I've been to the mountaintop" speech came from.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, it was deep. Now go relook at that mountaintop speech, and you understand and know who the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is, and see if you can see the nuances in there of what that man is saying. He just couldn't say too much at once. See, because he was a genius as well, just like Malcolm. Martin was a genius as well, bro. These were geniuses, young lions in our midst that we mishandled and misused and misinterpreted and misunderstood. So even these many years later, now Malcolm is still bringing people this way and teaching us, things that, we never would have ever, ventured to ever try to ponder if we didn't come in contact with these two individuals.
Yeah, you mentioned Stokely Carmichael and the Black Panther Party and all of these other groups who were fighting the same cause, even though they had different ideologies. And that's the same thing that I apply to us today, because there's a lot of us in this group who have great minds, who have great information, but we don't share the exact same ideology. And
Yep.
that shouldn't be a barrier to stop us, because we have the same common cause, and that's the betterment of our people. And
Yes.
so, on the other side of the tracks, that's what I call the Quamites, the other side of 8 Mile. Those cats over there, they are not going to allow that. They're not going to allow you to be able to think outside of their ideology and be at peace. And that's why I'm glad I met the free thinkers first.
Yes, sir. Hey, Queen, I see your comment. And as far as the Mecca comment goes, I beg to differ a little bit because, like I said, I know the inside routes. Malcolm knew what the situation was in Mecca because in 1959, Malcolm visited Jeddah. In Jeddah, it's the same situation in Mecca. It's just like if you was going to a state, you would go to the capital city in the state, and then you would go to another little city in the state, but same um, the same situations went on in both of those states. So Malcolm went to Jeddah in 59. So he knew what the whole situation was with the Muslim. He knew about the white Muslims and all of that. So for him to come back uh, and say what he said after visiting Mecca was just a little bit disingenuous, if you will.
Well, I've always said about the Jewish people, Christians, and Muslims, we are all brothers. We all are the sons of Abraham. One is from Ishmael, one is from Isaac. But we're all brothers. We all derive from that seed, man. And so I always looked at my NOI brothers as just that, my brothers. I look at the Hebrew Israelite brothers as my brothers. And, even though we have issues, I still respect I still respect their doctrine.
Now, you know you're going to run into a problem with Sears on that, right?
Hey, I know that, but that's all right, man. That's
But
what
look,
keeps.
it's good. It's good because, but let me say this because I was telling Sis, and I got a video on it, not to cut you off, but I got a video on it because look, this is what I think. At the end of the day, all of this boils down to language and culture. Like, if you go all the way back to the nomadic approach from the Nile to how we were originally, and then we branched off, it's like whenever a family goes and creates another family and they stretch out in the distance, they're going to take some of the stuff from the source, but then once they get where they're going, a whole bunch of things are going to be redefined. You get it?
Yeah,
So once you get so far down in history and so far away from the source, there's a lot lost in the translation. And then we got all these different languages on the planet that represent different cultures and different people. But if you go back in time, the languages were few, meaning we didn't have that many dialects, that many tongues. But now, these days and age, we got so many different dialects, so many different tongues, so many different speech patterns. People speak so many different languages to the point to where I could be saying very well the same thing that you're saying. You just don't understand me because I'm not speaking it in your language.
Yeah, yeah,
So this is what we have to get away from as a people, and thinking that, we got the end all be all ideal on what God thinks and what God is, because at the end of the day, it's all about translation. That's where the King James translation of the Bible come from, man. He took it out of Arabic, and Greek, So if you take something out of their original language, and I studied Spanish and French in school, so I know that from language to language, there's something lost in the translation. For instance, in the Latin language, the letter J makes the hota sound. Like you don't even say G, nothing. It's the hota. It's to start with a Y. So I'm saying,
Mhm.
so when you look at that and you go to all these different languages and these different sound patterns and nuance and phonetics and shit, it's about like people are gonna say the same thing, but they just speaking it in a different tongue, you know?
Yeah. Me and my wife have this conversation all the time because she's Pentecostal, and so they believe in calling him Jesus and all of that, and I refer to him as Yeshua or Yahweh, his original name in the original tongue. And
Yeah,
so my argument with her always boils down to when they say in the name of Jesus, when you got to call on the name of Jesus, I would say, well, how could that be if his name in the original tongue is this? So I can understand in translation that you would say it for the European tongue, but at the same time, when they say in the name, they're not specifically meaning that name, those letters put together to make that identifier. They're talking about the character. For like when you say stop in the name of the law, in the authority and the power of this, that the name. And so this is something that me and my wife go back and forth about, man. So I understand what you're saying. There's a lot that's lost in the interpretation. That's why I try to study different that I try to study things in Hebrew and stuff like that, man, just so I can get a better understanding. I just want to know truth. That's all.
right. And your wife, if I ain't mistaken, she speaks in tongues, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, see, so I mean, I'm a little studied. I understand a little bit about it, but the thing is this, bro. Look, even with that said, Jesus never told us to pray to him, man.
No. Nope.
You get
Never.
what I'm saying? He never,
Yeah.
he never, he never gave those instructions. And then
Nope.
you got a lot of people that just impose that on them, and then these Christians and these Latter-day Saints. Jesus always said, "Pray to the Father in my name," but he never said, "Pray to me."
Exactly. So, and that's something that I definitely hit on a lot. Whenever I do choose to talk about religion, and I go in and start talking about Christianity, because I'm very crucial with Christianity in particular, because I call myself an unorthodox Christian, because I do believe the the Bible. I believe the Bible. I know that it's been whitewashed, and I understand that there's been some stuff manipulated in there. It's been used as a tool to control the masses and not for what its right intent was. And so when I look at these things, man, and I just try to gain some understanding, I sit back and I'll break it down to the rarest form like that, because you have to rightly divide it. And if you don't, people get lost in interpretation.
Yeah,
That's where everybody get manipulated whenever it comes to scripture and those interpretations.
yeah.
And that's why we got all these different denominations and stuff.
The interpretations and the translations, if you will. That's where things get lost. Because if I'm coming to you from Jamaica, for instance, I'm saying that I start and I get to talking, I'm gonna be saying some of the shit you want to hear. You just don't understand it because I'm speaking in a dialect, in a tongue that you're not privy to.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times us as a people got to stop being afraid of one another, like, or just being so hell bent on I'm right, like I've never really, I pride myself on, I've never really been a hater, bro. I don't really, I'm a man's man. I don't care what people are doing, what you got going. That type of shit don't make me jealous. You
Yeah.
know, so I can really sit down with another man and have a conversation with him, and we can have a meeting of the minds, or we could disagree on something, and we could come away from that situation, both of us better men, because I'm sure both of us learned something from that situation. But you can't do that with somebody that's like, let's say, for instance, a Kwame Brown type. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, that prototype of individual is what they call a brick wall. You know, he's a narcissist. He's not listening to shit. He's not compromising on shit. There's no give. You know what I'm saying? It's all take, take, take. And in any situation, you know, and I know we need balance.
Yeah.
There's always gotta be some give and some take. So if you looking at life and you move one way all the time, you know, that's gonna make you sort of rigid. So me, I like to remain elusive in life, like, you know, studying the martial arts and moving to the area of no resistance, Wing Chun, you
Yeah.
know. So we as a people need to start employing different tactics of how we view each other. I think that's the first thing. Like we fear one another, you know, less than we fear that other guy. You
Yeah.
know, like we'll cheese in his face, welcome him into our house. He can have the spare room. A brother come to your house, him and his baby temporarily put out of their house, and you be like, nah, well, I help you find a hotel room for the night, but after that, I'm serious, man. This is how we treat each other,
Yeah.
and a lot of it has to do with our upbringing and how we was raised. But still, I think at the end of the day, you can't give up on your people. And you know, like I don't fear. I was looking at you on your other video, D Mac, when you say you go out and help them young brothers. Like I come up from Job Corps, so I appreciate that. I had an RA and all of that. So these guys was instrumental in me and my upbringing and me developing into my manhood, and you know, making me part of who I am now. You know, the principles that they gave me, the things they taught me, the times when I came back in the dorm, snuck in late, and you know, they didn't just let me get up in there. You know, they had some hard lessons for me, but they looked out. You know, so I attribute all of that to that. And that's why when you going out there and mentoring to them little guys, I understand your passion, and I understand why you so passionate about going at Kwame Brown, you know, when he was being a fraud with that. So no, I didn't hold that against you, man. I understood it wholeheartedly.
Well, I appreciate that, bro, because I came up, I was just talking to my mom today, and I came up in a household where, there was anybody in my neighborhood, anybody in the surrounding area that was on a hard time. They fell out with their parents, got kicked out. My mom was the type of person, she wasn't going to see nobody outside hungry or cold or nothing like that. So I had white boys that was living in my house at one point in time. I had Asian boy that was living in my house at one point in time, and I got along with everybody, and I learned a little bit about everybody different belief system, and I learned to even though I don't agree with everything, I learned to respect their right to believe what they want to believe. And a lot of my homeboys that I grew up with, some of them are Moors now, some of them are Hebrew Israelites now, and we talk to each other on a regular basis, man. And these brothers, it's funny because they be trying it's like they almost trying to recruit me in, man, and I'm standing firm on my beliefs, man, but I love my brothers to death. So the conversations that I have with C is those the same conversations that I have with my brothers, man. So it's all good, and I love Sis and respect that dude to death, man. I respect anybody who has a wealth of knowledge like that and stand firm on their beliefs. That's what men are about, and that's what I'm all about, is promoting manhood, man. So yeah, I respect y'all dudes, and I love these conversations. I'm always gonna welcome this type of conversation because they need to be had. I know Ronald Jones that night, he was like, he don't talk about politics and he don't talk about religion, but we have to. We have to. It's the elephant in the room all the time.
Everybody got their lane. Everybody got their lane. Ronald is that troll lane that, like, he's like the intelligent troll. So we'll let him have that. However, at the end of the day, a lot of us got to maintain and stay on our post as well, because you know what you said. at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about respect. If you say F me, it's double F you. You know what I'm saying? So if the morals and principles that I was raised on, you shun and spit on them, how you think I'm gonna look at you as a partner, as a friend? You know, like, no, bro. Like if I can pay homage and give some type of, respect to your beliefs, then you have to do the same with mine. And then lo and behold, a lot of times what you'll do is you'll see a common thread in them if you would just sit down and stop being so rigid, like I said, about, standing firm on your quote unquote beliefs. Like I see a lot of common chord and, like I've studied everything from Zoroastrianism to Buddhism. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of common chords in all of the religions. And so I'm saying, I think if we were to go back and zero all the way into the finite beginning, like Sis is trying to do, and a lot of times I think that's what he's saying. And we skip past that sometimes, but look, it's all the same, man. Like we started from a primal people, like a humble beginning. Before civilization ever got underway, there were certain civilizations beyond this civilization. That's what the digging is all about. There were civilizations buried on top of civilizations. That's what the digging is all about. There were even civilizations that locked out knowledge to these to the future civilizations, if you
Yeah.
will. That's what the pyramid's all about. They shut off branches of knowledge to these neophytes that were coming to the planet because they navigated the stars. They knew the cosmos and they knew what was coming. So they shut down certain branches of knowledge, and then here it comes up out of our subconscious these many years later. And that's what this is all about. But in that happening, we can't get too overzealous in our Africanism and just dispel everybody and everything, because uh, kinetically we're all interconnected, if you will, bruh. Everybody
Mhm.
bleed. Everybody bleeds the same blood. Uh, if you were to go in to an operating room, the heart surgery for a black guy would be the same heart surgery for a white guy. So, in that sense, there's some situations that go on with the dominant and recessive, and we all know that. But I'm just saying, basically, the practice for humans is a standard. That's criterion. You can't change that. So when you look in terms of us as a people, I think if we start to look at that, and stop being on that me shit, and it's all about being subjective, we'll be a little bit better off.
Bro, that's the experiment that I'm doing right. I wouldn't say it's an experiment, but it's an understanding that I'm starting to come to because I said I'm going to throw my hat in the political arena at some point. So now I'm starting to talk to people, city council members and different people in the city who's doing these things that I'm trying to get into. And what I'm starting to realize is if I'm going to be a leader out here, I'm not just going to be a leader of Christians. I'm not just going to be a leader of black people. I'm going to be a leader of everybody that reside within this community that I have right here. And it's every ethnicity that you can think of, every belief system, every culture. And so I'm going to have to be privy to all of that and not just try to cater to one belief system in order to be an effective leader in this city.
Well, in that sense, D, I'm gonna pray for you, bro, because
I need it.
I'm gonna pray for you because I don't want to sound like a naysayer, but I think that's a failed system. It's just that, and that's just my belief personally. I don't think I think that whole system needs to be scrapped and reiterated. And the whole shit behind that is if everybody ain't gonna come. Remember I told you about the lawyer, about my mama wanted me to be a lawyer, and I told her I was too involved with the truth and the lie.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, political posturing is not a thing that I could do. I couldn't be in no lobbyist meeting with some people that was trying to fund me merely because they wanted me to support some of their ideas, regardless to the principles engulfed in her ideas. I'm a principle type of guy, so I would have to fucking read the fine print and be like, nah, dude, I can't do that. So no, I could never be a politician. However, I get where you're at because I don't think that you're one of those guys that would go in there and do that. But I'm just saying, Obama had good intentions,
Yeah.
and and I really believe they corrupted the bro. He had really good intentions. Everybody was behind him. We were all backing him, and we were all ecstatic about him getting into that office. But when he got there, a whole host of things started happening, and I think dude had a rude awakening. Like his eyes was open to some behind the curtain type shit, behind the green door type shit. So yeah, I couldn't do that, man.
And I see myself more of like a Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad type of brother. I'm a very no nonsense brother. So if I was to get in there, it'll definitely be some shit, bro. And salute, shout out. Let me first say shout out to Draco, shout out to Cynthia and everybody that came in the chat, but also a major shout out to Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. That was one of my mentors right there. I love that man. I respected that man because he gave you nothing but the raw.
Well, I know who he is because I told you where I come from. That's my brother.
Yeah.
Um, the thing is this, you know how he died, right?
Somewhat. It's still kind of a gray area, man. That all I know is that the brother came home and he got sick, and he told his wife he wasn't feeling good, and he just was gone.
Well, the official diagnosis, I believe, was an aneurysm.
Mm,
But but now, you know, the hidden agenda, they talk about electromagnetic pulse.
that is very real. The military use it.
Yes, sir. And we know this, and you know who that soldier was. So yeah, that's one thing. That's neither here nor there. I ain't gonna go too deep in there because I ain't trying to get us cut up. But um, you when you look at guys like Dr. Khalid, he never would have made Congress, bro. They wasn't having that. Look at Bobby Rush, man.
Yeah, true.
See,
That's
see once you cross a certain barrier, a certain line, you know, there's certain oaths you have to take. And these people ain't gonna let you get away without taking the oath. If you don't take the oath, you're gonna be wound up somewhere on the island, made to look crazy in the crazy house, or somewhere trying to get killed, like the Wikipedia dude. I'm just saying, it's a lot that comes with that whole scenario. That's why I never ever would wish politics on you. But if that's what you want, I would back you 100%. I'm just saying, be careful because I know beyond me that's a failed system. And if you ever get a chance, go read a book called The Fall of America. That's a failed system. It's not gonna work because of Thomas Jefferson said it so many years ago, bro. And I'm gonna pull back that exact writing on that, but he in so many words and no uncertain terms said that he knew one day that his people was gonna have to pay for that.
yep.
You He said that out of his mouth, and he did it in the writing. Lincoln said some writings to that effect. A whole bunch of them, they knew it was coming. They just didn't know when. And the same thing with us as black people. We knew God was going to save us. We just didn't know when and how. And so everybody keeps pushing. Everybody keeps trying to do the right thing. But I think a lot gets lost in the translation when we don't sit down and talk to one another and try to actually identify with one another.
Yeah, I'm speaking with us. Like I said, I have some Moorish brothers, and we always talk about the reformation of the Constitution because that's just the contract for the people saying that we're going to expect this from the government, and the government is going to expect this from us. And so that contract has been violated how many times? So many times. If we was to really hold that contract like in the court of law, then it would be null and void because it's been violated so many times on both sides. So that whole thing, we need the heads of each prominent ethnic group in this country that contributes to the economic growth of this country to be able to sit down and join in the writing of this new constitution to take place. That's the only way that America's gonna get back on track, because they keep on putting a band-aid on a broke leg, and that shit ain't doing nothing. So
They
yeah,
they
yeah, I agree with you 100%, bro.
Yeah, they skipping and they skipping and playing the bullshit because you understand maritime law versus this law, and I get in what you were saying, but I was gonna tell you about, like, I heard a lot of people talking about slavery, and I told this dude one time, I said, bro, get over it. And he said, huh? He got mad at me because I wasn't mad about slavery. And I told him why though. And I said, bro, at one time or another, everybody on this planet was a slave.
Yep.
I say, so get over it. I say, God makes you repeat history if you don't pass the test of time. And if you make somebody a slave, you will become a slave. So, I mean, you look at how this world was comprised and how everything started in the beginning, you really can't get mad if you're made to reap with your soul. You get it? So
Absolutely.
that's what I was telling the brother, and he got so upset. He was like, Trey, you a traitor. I was like, nah, bro. I say, if you look at it like that from a perspective that I'm looking at it, that's how Jesus would have looked at it. Like,
Yeah.
this ain't about feelings, man. This is about right and wrong.
This is a consequence for disobedience of a people. That's
Facts.
that's that's what I see it as. And so I understand fully what you're saying, because I came to that realization one day, because I used to be, my real birth given name is Kunta Kinte. And so I've always been on that
Uh, that's
pro
my
black,
that's my
all that.
cousin's name. My
For
cousin's name.
real.
Yeah, my cousin's name is Kunta Kinte Nisha Bryant.
Wow, my name is Kunta Kinte Mackin, bro. And so, I've always been raised with that black pride mentality, and fighting for the people. That's always been instilled in me from day one. And so I came to this point where I was like, you know what? We as black people don't have a monopoly on slavery, on being in slavery, because even before the white man laid foot on our continent, slavery was a part of war. Whenever you go and conquer somebody, you take those people into slavery.
Yeah,
And slaves was used to create all of the things that's created. So we don't have a monopoly on being used for slavery just over here in this country. And it seems like everybody else who has been mistreated in this country gets a reparation except for us. And that was the only view I had. But I was like, if that reparation is going to come with a tag on it, I don't even want it.
uh, you see, that's why I think we went wrong though on the planet as a people. When we started that conquest shit, you know, that's where everything started wrong. When you want to go conquer another people and try to force them to believe what you believe just because you're a bigger nation, that's when I think God started to do the dissension of the gods, and people started to be more mortal man because y'all not acting godly. Like, no, you can't just impose your beliefs on another god. And we talked about that in the Sunday service about how these people were just going and being extremists. Like, shit, you get your neck cut off if you chant a certain chant. And
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, man. This conversation can provoke, it can bring people to anger, and it can bring people to a place of understanding, man. It's just all how you take it and what you're really trying to get out of the conversations. So when brothers like us, we sit back and we're knowledgeable. We've had a couple years to study up on some stuff. We can respect where somebody else is coming from, man. And that's what I appreciate, because I don't deal with a whole lot of people outside of when I'm doing my work and stuff. I'm pretty much an introvert when I'm not out there doing what I'm doing. And so to have somebody to have these ideas to talk them through with, man, this is my release. So I
fact,
appreciate this channel, man. I appreciate having the opportunity to talk to minds like y'all. And so we can, not agree on everything, but get an understanding of who each other are, what each other believes, so that we can keep on going towards our goal from there, man. And so, if Kwame was to have all of these people still backing him, man, going back to the beginning point, man, just imagine what a force we would be right now. But we're still going to be that force.
Yeah,
Wholeheartedly, is just going to be absent him, and he could have been able to capitalize greatly off of this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I said it in the beginning. They plan a plan, and God plans a plan. Kwame was not worthy, bruh. He was not worthy of the people that he was surrounded with, and God made a way to where they would no longer be around him. And believe it or not, that was for the better or the good of the good people. See, God is not going to allow you to walk off into a ditch or walk off a cliff if you are the quote unquote righteous.
I agree 100%, man.
Yeah,
I've seen it too many times in my life. You know, there's a lot of people who would debate me on my beliefs. I be like, man, I've seen too much in my life, man, to let you come in here and throw doubt into the things that I've witnessed with my own eyes. It's one thing to have faith, but when you witness things with your own eyes, man, it's hard for you to shake that man's belief system.
yeah, it's no doubt. But I really think that this conversation here needed to be had because, like I said, I've been looking and re-looking at some of your lives and some of them, but I never ever was the type to try to proselytize my faith or nothing like that and go out and be like, man, you need to be this. No, see, because I like I told you at the beginning, I'm gonna reiterate. I think that's where we go wrong at. Like, I would be more inclined to try to identify with your belief, your practices, and try to see the common chord from the ones of mine. See, like that's why I think we going wrong as a people. Like, all of us got to try to look at the common core that we have as a human race first, and then we can break down into these individual sects. But as long as we still got the core idea, everything will be okay.
Yeah, I truly believe, man, that the Father, he sets up divine um, events and divine moments for me to have these conversations with different people, because the time and the place that I be having these conversations, some of them be like not conventional places or times to have these conversations, but I know it's the spirit, man, and I know that it's a message and a conversation that need to be had at that time, so I don't shy away from it at all, man. There's a lot of times where I was out here in the streets, and the person that I was dealing with, I did not expect to hear anything out of that person of wisdom or anything like that. But you can't judge a book by its cover. And that person blessed me with some information, man, that enhanced my life and helped me to connect a couple dots on something. And so, man, when I be out here dealing with people, man, I listen. I make sure that I listen, man, and consider what people say, because I want to have that same respect towards what I got to say out here. And I feel like, yeah, if we started doing that more, then we as a people could really, really get together, because most of our distraction come from fighting over stuff like this.
Yeah, I think I heard everything you said, and I believe you're talking about me too. Because after I went at Sears, a wise man would have stood off from that and been like, "Damn," But when you sit down and have a conversation with somebody such as myself, what you'll come to find out is that I'm a warrior, man. I'm a warrior first. I'm a lion,
Yeah,
So I can't be involved in no shenanigans that's on some BS level and diminishing our manhood, if you will. So no, I stand up on issues like that and I address it. But then when people want to sit down and have a meeting of the minds and we can sit down and talk it out, we can, if there's an earnest desire to talk it out. But you can't be coming over, messing with my, mentality and playing on my intelligence. I ain't having that, man.
exactly. That's not a man quality. So I'd expect that from any man. And, you know, This is something that me and Self Awareness TV, shout out to Reverend Tony, man. This is what we came into agreement where we really started rocking with each other, talking about. Because there's a lot of men out here who have set a precedent that it's okay to not exercise masculinity. And this is what's missing in our young men out here because they're starting to gravitate toward the primary authority in the house, which usually be the mother, the woman. And so they attach to those feminine qualities because those male attributes are missing in their general area. And so they have a tendency to come out here and exercise the wrong type of attitude as a young man. And they can't have any conflict resolution because they're out of balance. And so getting these young men back in balance is the key, man. And so changing their focus and showing them how a man walk, man, and how a man deals with not just his woman, but any of his sisters. These are the important, intangible things, man, that we gotta take that time to do, not only with our sons, but with these little knuckleheads we see around here running in the neighborhood.
I hate to keep bringing this up, but those are the exact issues and principles that Kwame was talking about when he first came up to the internet. Like, and all of those things. I said one time where I could see this dude got mommy issues and daddy issues. Like, nobody treated him right. He said that he went out with the old OG, and the OG at 14-year-old was talking to him, teaching him principles, talking manhood. But I think a lot got lost in the translation, or Kwame just didn't pick up on some of it, because I know he wasn't telling you to be a big ass crybaby. And that's one of the worst, just between me and you, D-Mac, that's one of the worst asinine sounds I can hear as a grown man whining. My little brother does it. And I tell him all the time, bro, I want to hear that shit. Man up. I tell him in a minute, I cannot stand to hear a grown man whining like, you hear this shit?
Yeah. That shit is like a nails on the chalkboard to a man.
All right, man. Like, bro, man, what the fuck? Because I'd rather go talk to one of my sisters and I even tell them, girl, call that pussy shit out. But I'm saying I listen to it from them. But my brother come over and start to, well, she said, so I say, nigga, huh? What's wrong with you, brother? And he married. I got an ex-wife, but he married. He come over here complaining to me about his wife all the time. And I was like, bro, you just got married. And he be over on some straight crybaby shit like Kim says, man, I swear to God, I can't stand to hear that shit. And it sounds just like Kwame Brown talking on this panel about, he talking about another grown man. I swear to God, I can hear that shit synonymous. I heard the same. I said, God, it's the same voice pattern. And I say, this big old motherfucker is a sissy. Yeah, every time something happened, he want to play the victim. He start crying, me. I had to tell him on one of his panels one time, D-Lo, that same panel while I was dressing Urs, I'm trying to get at Urs. Kwame kept interjecting, and I kept telling, I said, bro, with all due respect, this ain't about you. I'm trying to talk to dude on some shit he's saying, and you keep interjecting. I'll take on that Urs. I handle that Urs. I say, ain't this some whole shit?
Yeah. Absolutely is. And that's the whole thing that we against. That's the whole thing that he keep running from. That's why he running from these conversations, because there's real men who are speaking, and there's real men who want to impart some things into him. Most of us want to just have a conversation with him and really do the same thing that Kobe was trying to do. Try to do the same thing that Michael was trying to do. Trying to get him to get it. That's all.
Well, I'm convinced, and I understand the clinical definition of insanity. See, you can keep repeating the same shit over and over again, expecting different results. But I think Kwame is basically showing everybody who he is and what it's going to be. So I think we just going to have to come to the conclusion that certain people are not, how can I put this gingerly? Certain people are just not godly, And that's what I'm seeing from this individual, because I couldn't sit down so firmly on the stances that he's doing with the stripper and all this other shit. You know, like I at some point I would have to come and say, okay, look, y'all, this is what it is. Let's talk about it, all right, but don't judge me. You hear me?
Yeah.
But you gonna sit there and deny, lie, and deflect, create narrative after narrative, and everybody else is fucked up but you. Come on, man, really?
He
That's what we
probably
do.
he probably reprobated, man. To be honest, that's one thing that I considered, because when you get so deep into something, and the father's been showing you the way, and you know right from wrong, but you continue to get yourself deeper and deeper into this mess. Yo,
Mhm.
bro, at some point you get reprobated, and it's hard to come up out of that without the father's help.
And
You
you
know,
know,
and so until
you
he humble himself, man, then he gonna stay there.
exactly, because you know the recommendation for that. You supposed to let him go when he in that stage. You know, nah, hey, you with God now, and that's the only person that can pull him and catapult him back from that situation. As if he was to have a meeting, or come to Jesus situation or something, bro. Other than that, ain't nobody down here, mortal man, gonna do nothing for Kwame Brown. He done been in the NBA with gods upon gods, you know, uh, uh, countless father figures, countless mentors, guys that can put him in a better situation. And he was stubborn about it. Gilbert talks about it all the time, about how Kwame was can't get right. You know, I wanted to go get that thing from Life and cut up some of that and do one of the movies with Can't Get Right, looking at that white lady. And
Yeah,
yeah, I think I might still mess with some of it. But Kwame, he said, Charles Oakley said that about Kwame. He said Kwame just can't get right, and I said, damn, that's can't get right.
hey, hold on, bro. Hey, I got one of my youth in here right now, man. I got my godsons in here. I got Jamal and I got Michael. And I just want Michael to come on a little bit and just talk about like the conversations that we be having and the stuff that we be dealing with, man, when we sit around and we talk, bro. This is my godson, Michael.
Salute, Michael.
So pretty much we just expound on everything that's been going on around the world, how mainly men have been like acting, especially recently in like 2020, 21, 22. These past few years, everything has been changing. And it's like 20 years ago, we didn't see the same things. Like everything literally changed, and our demeanor, our perspective on life, and how people treat each other is completely different. And it's just stuff that we see every day that we just gotta point out and talk about. So usually we try to keep up with everything that's going on and talk about it and stuff. So
How
Appreciate
old are you? How old are you, Michael?
25.
Okay, yeah. You sound like a very intelligent young man. The thing is, you're absolutely right with everything you said, but I want you to know that you hold the key. It's guys like you with the mentality that you got. Don't you let nobody try to make you think that you uncool because you can articulate like you do. You get it?
Yeah.
Strength
So
strength comes with knowledge, Michael. That's what I'm saying to you. Once you know,
you.
you know. They can't take it away from you.
That's it, man. And I appreciate you imparting that wisdom into him, man. Reinforcing things that we talk about on a regular basis, man. I understand the need, because as a young man, my pops passed when I was 17. So, I was blessed and fortunate to have him in my life up to that point. But that was a pivotal point for me at 17. And, now he's gone. And so, me and my friends was basically raising each other, because there was very few of us who had a father in the household or active in the lives, and so a lot of us raised each other. And
No.
so to be able to be those people to impart that in these guys' lives, man, It's something that helps to keep me on point because I can't be out here telling them all of this good stuff and filling their heads with things that they can go out here and be. And I'm not an example of that myself. And so they keep me on point. So it's a back and forth reciprocal thing that I have going with these kids, man.
Yes, sir. Michael sounds and reminds me a lot from his dialect. He sounds like my little brother. My baby brother is a PhD psychologist up in Minnesota right now, and he mentors a lot of youth, and he's over like some type of youth house. And and the thing is, the reason I said what I said to Mike about the cool statement and don't let nobody make him think other than, because I can remember vividly when my brother was little, I used to kick him around and shit and just pick on him because I see him playing in the mud and playing in the dirt and shit, and I ain't like that. It was an embarrassment to me as a big brother. Like, the guys come on the block like, damn, bro, your brother's so dusty, on some ear shit. Like, get him up out the dirt.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, these many years later, me and this dude sat down one day and had like a 6-hour conversation on the phone. And he told me, he said, B, I know what you was doing. He said, but you just didn't know what I was doing. And I said, well, what were you doing? He said, I was tracing the ant colonies.
Wow.
He said, I wasn't playing in no dirt. He said, I was looking at the routes the ants was taking, and I was tracing the colonies and trying to figure out the path. This dude was doing this shit at 7 and 8, man.
Yeah.
I'm picking on him, thinking he's a bum. He's a fucking genius right in front of me.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, don't let nobody pick on you, bro. You do you.
Oh no, man! These brothers are strong. They're confident, man, and they out here and they making a difference in this world. This is the culmination of what we, as what's considered as OGs. This is what we do it for, man. When we sit back and we see these young men flourishing, these young ladies going out here flourishing, having confidence in themselves because they know who they are, man, and they would know what they represent, and they going out here and just doing great things, bro. I'm good. I don't give a fuck about nothing else in the world. I don't care about having nothing in this world. If I can see that just on a regular basis, dude, I'm good.
Now, Mike talking that black boy magic talk. See, Kwame, if you in the bush, you heard some black boy magic going on. That boy articulated so well. I thought he was a young professor or something. So yeah, man. That's what we need, because so many of us are being viewed in the opposite light. And I had a video I put up a little while ago about this situation that went down in Walmart a couple of nights ago, here in St. Louis, and bruh, it just looked like anarchy, and it was us, man, and just a bad look. I mean, mom's whole family, mom and daughter, brothers, they all fighting in the store, tearing up the whole store, making it look like we can't have nothing nice.
Yeah. Wow,
Yep.
man. You said you're in St. Louis?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. My granddaughter's dad's family is in Ferguson.
That's right around the corner. That's where Mike Brown from.
Yeah, yeah. They stayed probably a few blocks from where that store is that everything happened, man. I
Yeah, that's West Florissant. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you said that. As a matter of fact, the store of that video is a little bit down the street from where Mike Brown had that situation and where they was rioting at.
yeah.
Yep. Right on up the street is that Walmart, bro. And in that very Walmart, they was in that motherfucker just acting like, they ain't had no home training, bro. None at all. And I said, hey, look, I'm thinking to myself, first thing I'm thinking, D-Mac, I say, what the parents said. And then I seen the girl come out with like a bat type situation, talking about, touch my mama again. I said, damn, the mom in the fight too?
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is nowadays, brother. You come in there and you looking for the supervision shit. The supervision is the ones in there thumping.
Yeah, I swear to God, bro. I was done. It looked like straight chaos and straight anarchy, and I'm telling you, it's it's a testimonial to what they gonna use as a template for when they try to come. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Also, yeah, you gotta stop that behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We doing our little piece, man, and I'm encouraged to be able to talk with brothers and deal with brothers that I know that they're doing things on their end, just like we're doing things on our end, man. So I'm
Yeah.
about to go ahead and get off here, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you, my brother, and learning with you.
I was just gonna say I'm glad you talking, but I'm finna get ready to go because I got to get up in the morning and go finish building this deck. And but yeah, it's been wonderful, man. I was waiting on the opportunity to get a chance to talk with you, on some 101 just because I like your intellect. But yeah, anytime though, D man.
For sure, man. Yeah, StreamYard just gave me my stuff back. I'm gonna upgrade my little thing so I can have better quality and stuff like that. It's time for me to do that. So yeah, man. Anytime you see me, anytime, bro. You welcome on this platform, and I appreciate you coming on tonight. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Y'all know what I say, man. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. All
Salute,
right.
salute, salute. Peace out to the chat. I see you, Queen. I see you, Chicky. I see you, Sin. I see you, Mickey. I seen some of them comments y'all had, but if y'all take this to the next level, then y'all should discuss it on the woman's perspective about this because a lot of this got to do with the mom and the dad.
That's it.
Salute,
You
peace
heard
out.
it. Hey, salute to you, Trey. I'm out, y'all.